Welcome. In this video, we'll understand the concept of memoization. So basically, this is used heavily in recursion. So what happens in recursion? In the previous video, you've seen the Fibonacci series. Fibonacci series. There you repeatedly calculate the values. If I call Fibonacci of 5, then I will call inside 4 and then 3. Then 4, inside 4 I will call 3, 2 and all those things. So repeatedly I'm calculating each values. Even if I calculate f of 3 in one subtree, again in the other subtree I'm again calculating f of 3, recalculation. So can you avoid that? That is the concept of memoization. So memoization basically is an optimization in recursion that caches the return values of a function so that the repeated calls with the same arguments are returned instantly for cache instead of recomputation. So for example, I have say function f of 5. So in this recursion, it is say it wants f of 3, the value returned by f of 3. Here also it returns say wants f of 3. So once I calculate this, I need not recalculate this. Okay, but in recursion, what happens without memoization? It recalculates, so that wastes the memory as well as time. It becomes slow. So to make the recursion faster, we can memorize. That means whatever value, for example, f of 3, initially give me 10 as the value. You store it in the cache memory. You store f of 3 equal to 10. So whenever this function calls, you need not again recalculate, no recalculation. You already have cache hit here. That means it is found in the cache. So you just use that 10. No need to calculate. So that is the concept of memoization. So that is stored in some temporary memory called as cache memory. So it contains the frequently used values. Cache contains the frequently used value. So Python supports that through LRU cache. Okay. LRU stands for least recently used. What is this? It is an eviction policy. Okay, in operating system you learn in depth. So anyhow, so LRU cache max size equal to none means what? I can store any number of items, unlimited. Size is unlimited. Like this, I can store any number of values of the function. Then I can also set the maximum size. So for example, it keeps 128. If I set 128, it keeps the 128 most recently used. Evicts the oldest when full. Okay, that is least recently used. The policy is least recently used will be evicted. So for example, I have to store only, have space to store only 4 values. Okay, say f of 1, f of 2, f of 3 and f of 4. Okay, now I will store what? The most recently used. The cache contains 4 spaces. You can store 4 values or return values of the functions. Now if f of 5 comes, okay, so this is the most recent one now. 1, 2, 3, 4 were executed in this order. Now which one I have to evict? Evict means which one I have to select and then remove it and put f of 5. So the policy is LRU cache. Python is LRU cache. That means you evict that which is least recently used. So f of 4 if I take, it was the previous call. Before that f of 3, f of 2, f of 1 was the least recently used. Okay? It was the oldest. So you remove and then put it. So that is how this LRU cache works in Python. So this at the rate whatever you are seeing, you call it as the decorator. So we will see in the further video lecture what exactly this means. Then one important concept here is arguments must be hacheable. Means what? It may be, it should be completely immutable. Why? Because see, the LRU cache stores it as key values. For example, f of 3 is 10. So this is key, this is value. This whatever I am passing here should be, this 3 value is there, no? 3 is an integer, it is immutable, then it is fine. If it is not hacheable, that means if it is mutable in some form, then it cannot work because the value may change, key value may change. So it becomes difficult to return the value from the cache. Which value will be a confusion. So we'll see with an example, don't worry. Let's take that Fibonacci series example only. So we have written the code. Just write again. Define Fibonacci series. I am passing n as the input. If the n is less than or equal to 1, So I will return n. Else, or you need not write else. Just do a recursive call. So what is my recursive call? Return fib of n minus 1 plus fib of n minus 2. Please check out my previous video lecture. I have explained this example. So now if I draw the recursion tree for this, how exactly this code works. Let us say I will take, instead of fib, I will write it as f for simplicity. F of 4 for Fibonacci number. So what it will be is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, so on. This is the Fibonacci series. So this is indexing 0, n 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should return 3. So we are not interested in the value here in this example. Let us build the recursion tree. So how it will call? So 4 is not less than or equal to 1. So it will call recursively fib or f of 3, here f of 2, that is n minus 1, here n minus 2. Okay, this is addition operation after they get the values. Then this will call f of 2, here f of 1. Then this one f of 1 is f of 0. Here it will not call further because his condition is less than or equal to 1. So it will just return the n value, that is 1. It will return 1 in this case for this. Next, here this side I have f of 1 and f of 0. So this is the recursion tree. So exactly how is the control flow? Always it will go from left to right. Okay. Basically in data structures we will understand this. This is pre-order traversal. Basically depth first search, in specifically pre-order. That means it will start from here, root, then go left, 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 and then right. Okay, and then right. How the computation happens. So now you observe here, the goal here is, see, I am calculating f of 1, f of 0. Here also I am calculating f of 1, f of 0. Here I am calculating f of 2. Here also I am calculating f of 2. Right? So what exactly Memoization says is, once you have calculated the values, you store it in the some cache memory, okay, temporary memory, so that I need not recalculate here. No recalculation happens here. No recalculations. So that saves my space and time. So recursion becomes faster. So how to store it? So initially, whenever I first call that function with that particular argument, so this whatever value is there, right? 4, 3, this should be hashed. Okay, so how the cache memory will look? Let us take, for example, so this is cache memory values, the function. Okay, this indicates the function, and then we'll have the values. So this is just like what this f represents, value represents key, and then these are the actual values, key value pair, hashable. Why it is hashable, we'll understand in the later slide, why it should be hashable. So first 4, okay, 4 is a miss, we say it as cache miss, because 4 is not found in the cache memory. So it has to make entry for it. Then 3 is also a miss, because 3 is not found. Then 2 is also a miss. Okay, then 1 is also a miss. Okay. Now f of 1 returns what? So let us take f of 1 returns n, that is 1. So this is cache, it is stored like this. So this you can consider it as f of 1. So this is key, and the value is 1 with the function f. Okay. Then 0, it will store 0, it will return 0. Then 2, it has already calculated, so 2 is 1 plus 0, so it is 2. Then 3, what is 3? It is 1 plus 1, it is 2. Okay, here, so 2. Then I have 4. So for 4, I have to still calculate. Now what happens? The recursion tree starts from this side now because it has calculated the other value. So once it comes here, f of 2 is a hit because it found this 2 value, right? So it will not calculate this. This is ignored. This is pruned. Okay, not executed. So it returns directly 2. Here also same thing. This one, when it comes here, f of 1, so it is already there in the memory. It is not going to calculate this. Okay, so this is a hit. We call it as cache hit because it is found. So hit and then hit. So totally for this sequence, the exams also they may ask like this: how many misses happened? Okay, count the misses. Initially 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 0. This is also miss. Okay, so cache miss is equal to, for f of the argument value when it was 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 5 misses happened. How many hits happened? Cache hits only 2 in this example. Okay, for this example, cache hits is 2. Okay, then what was that? F of 1 and f of, let me write it again. So f of cache hit is f of and then f of 2. So total 2 hits. This is how internally Python works. Okay, cache hits and cache miss. If that is there in already in the cache memory, so it will reuse it. That is the concept of memoization. Let's see this code example. So to use this LRE cache or cache in the Python 3.9 and above, use directly cache. In below that, you have to use LRE cache. Okay, and this is the decorator to set your max size, saying that whatever recursive definition I am using here, the values argument should be cached. If n is less than or equal to n, return n. So this code you have written. So this is cached. So whatever is seen here, this is the same example. Now if I print Fibonacci of 6, okay, let us take 4. So I will get, can check the cache info, okay, for this particular program or function. Fib is the function name, right? Fib.cache info will give me hits 2. That's what you have seen here. Okay, the exam they may ask here. Okay, this one. So misses 5 and then max size I set it as none. Current size equal to 5. That means what? What is the size I have used? Current size, that means my cache stores how many entries here? Total I am storing 5 entries. Okay. So how many misses are there? Those many entries I have to make in the cache. After this 4 was written, just stored that 2 plus 1, 3. Okay. So this is, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 values are stored in the cache. That is what it is saying. So current size means what is the size of the cache? 5 items are there. If you want, you can then clear the cache. Okay. Now, why memoization fails? If it has the mutable argument. See, in the previous example, you have seen f of, say, for example, 5. 5 is an integer. Integer is hashable because integer is immutable, completely immutable. It cannot be changed. Why it was required? Because you have seen in the cache memory, it is 5 and then say some value 10. Okay, this is the key, this is the value. What happens if this item, this key is not hashable? That means if it, say for example, is mutable, like list. Okay, let us take, for example, I have a list 1, 2, 3 initially. Okay, now cache, if I want to store it in the cache, what the cache memory will store? Cache will store for this list, okay, 1, 2, 3 as the recently used value. Okay, most recently used value. So this contains the entire list. Cache contains entire list. So if I want to reuse, I can get it from here. The problem here is this is 1, 2, 3. The list is mutable. That means I can say, for example, in my program, if I do something like this, list dot say append 4, what will happen? So it will become, the list will now become 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the key has changed. This was the key. The key has changed. So hence it is not hashable. Cannot be hashed. So then there will be confusion. Which one to return? Whether I return this value or this value from the cache. Which one to store? That is the reason always memoization requires the arguments what you store in the cache. The key value should be always immutable. So for example here, I have defined return some my list. Okay, I have defined the cache here. Okay, that means what this list is cached. Then process data 1, 2, 3. It will crash because it is not allowed. Okay, it is unhashable type. Why it fails? I have given an explanation here. Okay. So that is the concept of simple concept of memoization and how it is implemented in Python. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and share.